Hey gamers, today we're going to look at corporate America. Let's check it out. To set up the game, what you're going to do is take this Washington Monument round tracker, place it right here on Wall Street, shuffle the decks, and put your business, consumer, and legislation decks there. Also, you'll have executive privileges here, and a 3 to 4 player game, usually going to put just 4 cards down, but determining the amount of players, it could differ. Each player is going to get money. They're going to get 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 3 5s, and 1 10 to start off the game. And whoever has the most money in real life gets to start off as the president. This is just a little card stock that you would put in front of you. Now, after that, each player is going to grab 5 cards from the top of the business deck, and they're each going to get 5. Now, out of 5 of these, they're going to put 4 of them into effect. So 4 of them, they're going to run themselves here. Now, how you read these business cards is very simple. The cost here is in red. That's how much you would have to pay to get this. And of course, income, if any of these icons get hit on the consumer deck, which I'll get to in a minute, you would get that money in blue icon. So for instance, if I pick this one, if health comes up, I'll get $8. Or if transportation and home comes up, I'll get $6. Now you notice some of these have little red items on it. That means later on during the legislation phase, there could be things that impact pollution businesses, which 2 of these would be pollution businesses, I'm guessing because of the transportation. And if that's the case, then these could hurt me later on in the game. There are some that come with special instructions too, that just let you do different things in the game or make you pay certain things in the game, whatever it is. Now, on the icons here, it's good to have, let's say that these were the 4, and I picked 4 businesses, I discard the one I don't want, and then I pick 4. And while I have to, of course, pay all this money here, and then this would be my starting businesses that I would own. Now, the cool thing about this is, as you notice, some of these icons are the same, and that's what you want. So, for instance, if transportation hit, I would make $6 and $8. But because I have what's called synergy, I would actually get some additional bonus money here. It has a synergy bonus tracker on both sides of the board here, and if you have like 2 of the same business, which I do on both sides, whenever I get money for these, I would get an additional $2. And that can go up to like $27 if I had 7 of these at the end of the game, which would be really awesome. So, it's kind of a neat game because you're trying to match as many of the same icons for your businesses to generate the most income during the consumer round. So anyway, they would pick these, put them in front of them, and then once everyone's picked a business, then you would go over here to the Main Street phase. Now on the Main Street phase, starting with the president and then moving clockwise to the person sitting next to the president, you're going to pick consumer cards. So let's say the president picked his first, and it's a protest. Okay, so if it's a protest, you put it up here where protests are. It will be resolved later during the legislation phase here. So I'd pick another one. Okay, this one's health. So if anyone had a health bonus, then they would get money. If you see here, I got a health bonus, or this player got a health bonus. Well, maybe the president who picked this doesn't want me to get this bonus, and he wants to get rid of this card and basically pick a different card. What would he have to do to do that? Well, all he has to do here is look at the consumer card price. It's over here on this side of the board as well, and say, okay, the first card I picked was free. The second card costs $4. The next card costs $6, $8, $10, $12, depending on how many cards you want to keep pulling from the deck to change your mind. Now, the cool thing about this is you don't always have to be the one that pays it. There could be another player who really doesn't want me to get that money and tells the president who just pulled this card and say, hey, you know what? If you'll pull another card, I'll split that $4 with you. I'll pay 2 and you pay 2. Or maybe he'll pay all 4 because he really doesn't want me to get this health bonus. So for whatever reason, they pay the $4 and they can pull out another one, and it's finance. And since I don't have finance, and maybe the president does, he picks this one. And so anyone with that icon would make that money. And then you go around the board with each player, of course, picking one of these cards where you fill out the entire board where there's a little blue on there. It's a little man in a recliner banner with a remote control here, and that's how many of the blue cards you put out. Everyone would make their money, and then after that, we go to the campaign trail. Now, in this phase, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting out legislation cards, as many as there are little red spots on the board. So there'll be 6 here. If you notice, there are 2 spots that have the same icon, but they're in yellow. That means we're going to place those out when we get to the Capitol Hill phase. But right now, we're only put out 6. So we put out 6 of them here, and then each player is going to decide who's going to run for president, and they can all run for president if they want to, and they're going to make promises of what they can do or what they'll put into law or what actions they'll take when they're president. They have to pick 3 of these. Okay, now 2 of them haven't been revealed yet, and they won't be revealed till they get there. So someone could say, I'm going to pass this, this, and this, but then 2 other cards come out and they change their mind and pass that. You know, just like presidents, they make promises and change their mind in real life. But there's one thing we need to keep in mind in this example. We have some protesters who really want some environmental change. So the president, whoever they become, must pass a law. And you can see laws have the little law sign on it. They must pass an environmental law. Since this is the only environmental law, they have to pass this one. So this is one of theirs they have to pass regardless. And what it says, hey, green businesses get +2 income. So if you have this icon, you're going to get a +2 income whenever your business hits up on this. Now, other things that are on the deck, there could be things like this. This is just an event. And as you see, remember, I had 2 pollution here icons here. This would really hurt me if the president put this into law, because I have to pay $8 for each polluting business I own. Yikes, that would be $16. That would not be good for me. So maybe the president does make me pay that because he doesn't want me getting that much money. And I really don't want a president who wants to pick this card. So basically you have events and you have laws. Now, everyone decides, everyone gives their presidential pitch. Not everyone has to run for president. In fact, a lot of the games we play, only 2 people end up running for president. And then we get to the bidding rounds. Now, how this works is all of this money, you see here's a 1 and a 2, but they have the same backs here. And in player turn, starting with the president, everyone's going to put down money on either themselves to run for president or someone else. Now, you can't see what it is. It could be a $1 bill, it could be a $50 bill. What funds you're giving to these presidents. But every round, everyone's bidding, however many cards, but everything's face down, so you don't know who has enough money. And of course, whoever has the most money will always win the presidency. Now, if anyone chooses to pass during any of these rounds, they're out of the bidding phase. Like, for instance, if I passed in the first round, I could not bid for president on the next 2. I could not give out money to anyone for president, even myself. Or if you pass in the second round, you couldn't bid money in the third round. So that's kind of how it works there. So you have to pay all 3 rounds, or get lucky and hopefully people are already putting money into your coffers to be president. Once that's all done, you reveal all money that was spent, donated, goes back into the bank, and whoever has the most money, that person becomes the new president, and they will move to the Capitol Hill phase, where they will grab the top executive privilege card from the deck and keep it in their hand. Now, these executive privilege cards basically give you little superpowers in the game. You can cash them in once to really hurt other players or help yourself. So they're a one-time use, but they're pretty neat cards, and they do various things in the game. After that, though, you get to reveal the last 2 legislations here. Now, maybe in my campaign, I have to pass this law. This has to be passed because that will satisfy the environmental nuts. So I put it over here, and now it's in the law section under a law. And then next, let's say if I was president, I definitely wouldn't pass this one. Maybe I pass this one, which gives me $15 to give away to anyone with transportation. And maybe I told someone, I will give you 5 of this, but I'm going to keep 10 because I have transportation of my own. And maybe I follow through with my promise, or maybe I keep all 15 by myself. Ha ha ha! I'm a mean president. Either way, after that it goes to discard over there. And then secondly, let's say I put this law that just came out, instead of doing, maybe I said I was going to put that one into effect, but I lied again and I said I'm going to do this one because maybe this one will really help me because I have an entertainment business as well, and I would love to have that +2 income whenever I get it. So So I make that a law. All right, now after all that's done, you'll go to the Wall Street phase and start all over again. The only thing different in the Wall Street phase now is each player's only going to get 2 businesses, and they'll get to choose which one of these they want to put into effect. So, for instance, I have 2 houses. I may want to put that one and have a 3-house synergy bonus, but then the other one I would just discard. Again, you'd go around, put out more consumer cards, put out more legislation cards, vote for president, and whoever becomes president the second round, one of their additional actions they can do on the second round that you couldn't do on the first round is revoke one of the previous president's laws. So maybe I didn't get to be president the second round, and they said, okay, this little $2 bonus, Matt, is going away. I'm revoking that law. So the new president does get to revoke a law after the second round. And at the end of 4 rounds, or however many rounds you're playing with the executive privilege cards, once the last executive privilege card is taken, you'll have one final Wall Street phase, one final Main Street phase, and whoever has the most money at the end of the game wins. Final thoughts, what do I think about the game? You know, I wanted to play this game at BGG SpringCon this past year, and I didn't get a chance to play it because they didn't have it in their library. I was like, come on! And I've heard so many good things about this game. I was like, all right, well, I gotta try it out. And I finally found it for really cheap on an auction. I got it, and I was super happy to get it in. We played it, and it is a lot of fun. This is actually, it's almost like a party game, in fact. Not really. I mean, I'm just saying it's really light, and making all those deals, you know, promising this, promising that, and then throwing in those blind bids, thinking people are giving you a lot of money, and they really only gave you like $3. We had a big blast playing this. I like how running for president is just one of the phases. It's not the focus of the game at all. And those executive privilege cards, sometimes they're good in your favor, sometimes they're just worthless to you, you know, depending on what strategy you got going on. But overall, it's a really fun game. It's interesting how you're trying to synergize. You definitely want to be president or support, you know, have a bunch of big money. I supported you big time, Mr. President. You need to pass my law. Are you going to keep your promise or not? Because at first you think you are, and then those last 2 legislation laws come out, and you go, ooh, that would really help me. Or maybe someone who's been backing you the whole game. Like the first game we played, someone was backing this other guy for president and said, hey, I changed my mind. I want you to pass that rule. And if you don't, I'll start supporting someone else. Well, they didn't want to spend any of their money to be president, so they went ahead and did what that person said. I was like, what? This is cool. This is really cool. This is actually happening. So for the proper name here, corporate America, which is how the White House is run, I think this is a really fun game. Unfortunately, it is out of print. And it costs way too much. It's not worth the money people are charging online for it. If you can find it for pretty cheap, I'd say about $20-25. Like I found it, it's definitely worth your time. Really like this game. Super fun. All right, gamers, that's all the time I have for now. Until next time, game on!